Every auction has that one car, the one that shatters records, drops jaws, and makes millionaires fight like kids over the last Hot Wheels on the shelf. We're talking Ferraris that went for the price of a private island, Le Mans legends that shook the block, and ultra-rare classics so expensive they make your wallet sweat just looking at them. From Mecum to Barrett-Jackson to RM Sotheby's, in today's video, we're diving into the most expensive car ever sold at every major auction. Hold on to your seats, because this ride will be wild. 1. RM Sotheby's 1955 Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe. This is the sale that made every billionaire collector sit up a little straighter in their leather chairs. Back in May of 2022, at a private auction in Stuttgart, Germany, RM Sotheby's pulled off what many thought was impossible. They sold the 1955 Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe for a mind-boggling $143 million.
It's yours. Sold to you, sir. Thank you very much indeed. Congratulations. Thank you very much.
This beauty became the most expensive car ever sold at auction, period. This wasn't your typical crowded auction room with folks waving paddles. Mercedes made it an invite-only affair at their museum, with only 10 bidders allowed to throw down, and you bet every one of them showed up ready to fight for it. The starting bid alone was higher than the final sale price of the previous record holder Ferrari 250 GTO, just to give you a sense of the exclusivity at play. Only 2 of these Uhlenhaut coupes were ever built, named after Mercedes's legendary chief engineer, Rudolf Uhlenhaut. It's the kind of car that looks like it's going 180 miles per hour while standing still, and that's not just a figure of speech. This car could actually hit 180 miles per hour, making it one of the first real supercars on the planet. Powered by a 3.0-liter straight 8, pulled straight from the championship-winning W196 Formula One car, driven by none other than Juan Manuel Fangio. The Mercedes had been with the company since day one, accumulating just 3,756 miles in 70 years. And when they sold it, it wasn't just about the money. Mercedes insisted the new owner maintain it to the same meticulous standards and allow it to be displayed for the public during special events. The proceeds went to the Mercedes-Benz Fund to support scholarships for young engineers working in sustainability and decarbonization, making this sale as meaningful as it was historic. You want to talk about rarity? The other Uhlenhaut Coupe remains in the Mercedes-Benz Museum in Stuttgart. Now, after you catch your breath from that price tag, let's shift gears and talk about a Ferrari that once held the title and proved that sometimes legends are built on the racetrack and cherished in garages for decades. But before then, if you love big money cars, auction drama, and seeing what billionaire collectors will pay for 4 wheels and a steering wheel, hit that like button right now and subscribe so you don't miss out as we count down the priciest, most jaw-dropping sales ever to cross the auction block. Now, let's continue. 2. Bonhams 1962 Ferrari 250 GTO Berlinetta. August 14, 2014, Carmel, California. Bonhams Quail Lodge auction turned into a gladiator arena for collectors when the 1962 Ferrari 250 GTO Berlinetta crossed the block and hammered down at $38,115,000, setting a world auction record at the time. What made this Ferrari so desirable wasn't just its prancing horse badge or its classic curves. It was the story that came with it. This car was raced in the 1962 Tour de France, competed in mountain climbs and circuit races, and even had its fair share of hard knocks, including a wreck, before being saved from scrap in 1965 by a young Fabrizio Violati. Now, guess what? Violati hid the car from his parents and drove it only at night so they wouldn't find out. It was a love affair that lasted 49 years, making it the longest single-ownership GTO in history. The auction itself was a spectacle, with bidders from around the world packing into the pavilion and overflow crowds watching on screens outside. Each bid felt like a punch in a championship fight, with moments of tension followed by eruptions of cheers. By the time the gavel fell, the room exploded in applause, and Bonhams had just etched their name in the record books. This Ferrari, chassis number 3851 GT, was the 19th GTO Berlinetta built, completed on September 11, 1962.
$34,650,000. Last chance. You own the car.
Under the hood, it packed a 3.0-liter V12, capable of a soul-stirring roar, and the kind of performance that made it a GT World Championship winning road racer. But what truly made it special was its versatility It was just as comfortable tearing up the Tour de France as it was being driven down the street to grab a coffee. 9 other Ferraris from the Maranello Rosso collection were sold in that same auction, pulling in a combined $65,945,000. But the 250 GTO was the undisputed star, the crown jewel that every collector dreams about, but few will ever get close to owning. 3. Gooding & Company, 1935 Duesenberg SSJ. Now, if you thought European Marques were the only ones dancing in the tens of millions, the 1935 Duesenberg SSJ proved otherwise. This beast rolled into Gooding & Company's Pebble Beach auction on a crisp August evening in 2018, Lot 35, and when the hammer fell, it hit a mind-melting $22 million, buyer's premium included.
Congratulations.
What made folks sit up and pay attention wasn't just the number, but what this car represented. The SSJ became the most expensive American car ever sold at auction, shattering the previous $13.75 million record set by the first Shelby Cobra. But unlike the Cobra's British blood, the SSJ was all-American muscle, grit, and glamour rolled into one elegant yet aggressive machine. Back in the 1930s, Duesenberg was fighting for its life, battered by the Great Depression and the loss of co-founder Fred Duesenberg. Errit Labencord, the fearless salesman who owned the company, needed a big, flashy move to put Duesenberg back in the headlines. So, what did he do? He built just 2 special SSJs and handed them straight to Hollywood's biggest stars, Gary Cooper and Clark Gable. Cord had them built on a shortened Model J platform, stuffed with a 7.0-liter supercharged inline-8 that produced 400 horsepower. Imagine dropping the clutch on that beast down Sunset Boulevard while everyone else was putting around in cars barely cracking 80 horsepower. This particular SSJ, chassis number 2594, was Gary Cooper's personal ride. Cooper shelled out around $5,000, a fraction of what a regular Model J would cost. There are photos of him cruising the streets of Los Angeles in this very car during the late 30s, cementing the car's Hollywood pedigree. Over the years, the SSJ changed hands a few times, eventually landing with collector D. Cameron Peck, who also owned Gable's SSJ. Peck passed the car on to American racer Briggs Cunningham in 1949, and it stayed with him until 1986, when Miles C. Collier added it to his collection. 4. Art Curial, 1957 Ferrari 335S Spider Scaglietti. It's February 5th, 2016, at Paris Retromobile, and under the bright auction lights sits a 1957 Ferrari 335S Spider Scaglietti, ready to shake the room. By the end of the night, it hammered down at 32.1 million euros, roughly $35.7 million, making it the most expensive car ever sold at an Art Curial auction, and, at that time, the most expensive car sold at auction worldwide in euros and pounds. But it wasn't just about the price tag. This car was pure racing royalty. Chassis number 0674, engine number 0674, this Ferrari was the stuff of dreams for collectors and race fans alike. It raced under the prancing horse of Scuderia Ferrari itself and was driven by absolute legends like Sterling Moss and Wolfgang von Trips. It was a gladiator that battled on the toughest circuits in the world, finishing second in the 1957 Mille Miglia, with von Trips behind the wheel, following closely behind Taruffi's Ferrari in a race overshadowed by tragedy, but cementing Ferrari's iron grip on the world of motorsport. A year later, it took victory at the 1958 Cuba Grand Prix, further etching its name in racing history. Underneath its sleek, muscular Scaglietti bodywork, the Ferrari 335S packed a 4.0-liter V12, delivering around 400 horsepower. This Ferrari was a cornerstone of Ferrari's domination in the World Constructors' Championship in 1957. It wasn't a replica, wasn't a look-alike, but the real deal, living its life as a true factory racer. Its ownership history was clean, direct, and storied, having been part of Pierre Bardinon's famed collection since 1970 before it came under the hammer. Every inch of this Ferrari, from its 4-cam V12 to its Barchetta body, tells its story of racing. Number 5. Barrett-Jackson, Sammy Hagar's 2015 Ferrari LaFerrari. Sammy Hagar, the Red Rocker himself, took delivery of a 2015 Ferrari LaFerrari, but he wasn't about to settle for a typical Rosso Corsa. He worked closely with Ferrari to craft a one-of-a-kind creamy cappuccino masterpiece, making it the only LaFerrari on Earth in this exact shade. It's not every day you get to see a car that already costs $1.4 million roll across the block for a hammer price of $4,675,000. Hagar bought it new, spec'd it to perfection, and let it live a pampered life, racking up just 1,566 actual miles before sending it off to its next owner. The LaFerrari itself is no slouch in the hypercar world, sitting comfortably among the top dogs with its naturally aspirated 6.3-liter V12 paired with an electric motor. This combo produces a combined 949 horsepower and 664 pound-feet of torque, sending all that power to the rear wheels and rocketing it from 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds. Top speed? You're looking at over 217 miles per hour if you ever dared to test it. Hagar's car even received a fresh high-voltage lithium-ion battery installation at Ferrari of San Francisco in 2024, ensuring its hybrid system, derived from Ferrari's Formula One KERS technology, was ready for the next round of spirited driving. Those kinetic energy recovery bursts aren't just a party trick. They add that extra punch right when you want it. But it's that one-off creamy cappuccino exterior and matching cream leather interior with black contrast piping that makes this LaFerrari unforgettable. The interior's finished with carbon fiber and black accents throughout, and Hagar even opted for a Harman Kardon sound system, just in case the V12 soundtrack wasn't enough. Sitting atop a carbon fiber monocoque chassis with double wishbone front suspension and multi-link rear, this LaFerrari handles like it's glued to the road, and those forged aluminum wheels, 19-inch up front and 20-inch in the rear, just complete the look. Barrett-Jackson knew exactly what they had with this one. They displayed it proudly at their Scottsdale, Arizona stop, letting bidders circle like sharks before one lucky soul pounced, setting a new world auction record for the year. They even included a special replica model Ferrari, given to Hagar, along with a signed display plaque from the Quail, where the car had been showcased. This is one of those cars you don't just own. You steward it for the next generation, a living testament to the blend of rock and roll flair and Italian engineering perfection. 6th, Mecum Auctions, 1963, Ferrari 250 GT SWB California Spider. This 1963 Ferrari 250 GT SWB California Spider is the last one ever built with chassis number 4137 GT. At Mecum Kissimmee in 2024, this beauty rolled across the block and sold for an eye-watering $17.875 million. This 250 GT California Spider was completed at the factory on February 9, 1963, and finished in Rosocina, or China Red, with covered headlights. This feature adds even more collectability to an already rare machine. Only 55 SWB California Spiders were produced from 1960 to 1963, making it one of Ferrari's rarest and most desirable open-top classics. Under the hood, you get Ferrari's legendary 3.0-liter Colombo V12 engine, good for 276 horsepower, paired with a 4-speed manual gearbox. It might not sound like much in today's hypercar numbers. Still, in a 2,200-pound car, it was precisely what Enzo Ferrari wanted for his spirited customers back in the day. Pure, engaging, analog driving pleasure with a soundtrack no modern engine can match. This Spider's history is as rich as the car itself. It was imported into the U.S. by Luigi Cinetti Motors and shipped to Charles Rizzaghi Motors in San Francisco before being sold to its first owner in Minnesota. Over the years, it changed hands among enthusiasts, including Tim Kugel, former president and CEO of Yahoo, and even Joe Lacob, owner of the Golden State Warriors. It underwent a meticulous restoration by Patrick Otis, the respected Ferrari specialist, in 2001, and the results speak for themselves. This car racked up awards at the Cavallino Classic, Amelia Island Concours, Pebble Beach Casa Ferrari display, and even joined Ferrari North America's 60th anniversary parade on Rodeo Drive, driven by none other than Enzo Ferrari's son, Piero Ferrari. Despite its value, this California Spider wasn't a garage queen for its entire life. It covered over 67,000 miles in its 61-year journey. The Ferrari 250 GT SWB California Spider also found its way into pop culture, thanks to Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Although Ferris drove a replica in the film, that movie cemented the California Spider as the ultimate symbol of youthful freedom and timeless cool. 7. Worldwide Auctioneers, the 1937 Mercedes-Benz 540K Cabriolet B by Sindelfingen. This 1937 Mercedes-Benz 540K Cabriolet B, sold in April 2025 for $852,000, became the most expensive car that Worldwide Auctioneers has ever sold. Once you know the details, you'll see why.
Third and final time. Sold. Going to a great collection. Sold.
It's a second series Cabriolet B, rocking that longer 128-inch wheelbase that lets the Sindelfingen Craftsman truly stretch those sweeping fenders and long hood. Pop the hood, and you're looking at a supercharged inline-8, cranking out 180 horsepower. This car's finished in a slick black and gray combo with a black cloth top and chromed wire wheels that just look right. Slide into that green leather interior, surrounded by burled walnut and mother-of-pearl inlay, and you're instantly transported back to an era where driving was an event, not a chore. What makes this example stand out even more is the story behind it. Chassis 169367 was supposed to head to Scandinavia, but ended up in the hands of a wealthy German client in Berlin's Charlottenburg district in 1938. Over the years, it passed through collectors across Europe, including a Portuguese collector, before landing in the Passport collection in 2013. It wasn't left to gather dust either. Renowned Mercedes expert Rolf Wagner gave it a thorough mechanical once-over, spending over $26,000 to ensure it runs smoothly. Collectors love paperwork, and this beauty still has its original data plate and restoration photos, along with a reprinted owner's manual. Even under the hood, although the motor's serial number was removed during a past engine swap, it retains the correct internal engine prefix. It's these details that keep the car's history alive. 8. Silverstone Auctions, now iconic auctioneers. 1972 Lamborghini Mura SV. The Lamborghini Mura SV. You say that name in any car circle, and jaws drop. However, when chassis 5036 rolled up for bidding, it was the ultimate spec Miura, and it ultimately sold for £1,912,500, which is approximately $2.4 million, making it the most expensive car ever sold by iconic auctioneers. This was one of only 147 SVs ever built, and even more impressively, it's one of just 94 split-sump cars, considered the best of the best for reliability and performance in the Miura world. Originally finished in Rosso Corsa with Nero leather, it came loaded with factory air conditioning, a limited slip differential, and a radio pack, all must-haves for collectors seeking factory specifications. Here's where it gets really interesting. Originally ordered by Antonio Spada in Italy, the car was immediately converted to right-hand drive, so it could be shipped to Australia, where left-hand drive imports weren't allowed. The conversion was done so cleanly and professionally that it effectively became a factory-spec right-hand drive Miura SV, adding to its mystique since only 11 genuine right-hand drive SVs exist globally. This Miura spent nearly 3 decades with Queensland businessman Jerry Kent, who cherished the car until his passing in 2004. After that, it underwent a meticulous mechanical refresh costing over $60,000, ensuring everything from the suspension to the fuel system and cylinder heads was up to spec. It didn't stop there. In 2010, a comprehensive engine rebuild was performed, adding another $55,000 to its care list, ensuring it was not just a static piece of art, but a fully functional 385 horsepower V12 masterpiece ready to roar to 180 miles per hour. When it was eventually imported to the UK, the car was treated to a full bare metal repaint, back to its original Rosso Corsa, preserving its authenticity while freshening up its iconic look. 9. Historics Auctioneers, UK, 1964, Aston Martin DB5. Up next in our series is the car that turned every man into James Bond, even if just for a second. We're talking about a 1964 Aston Martin DB5 that sold for a cool £611,280, about $740,000, at Historics Auctioneers in London in February 2023. Between 2017 and 2019, this DB5 went through a full nut and bolt restoration, costing over $360,000, and we're not talking about a quick spray and polish here. The owner took it seriously, giving it a full engine rebuild, refreshing the interior with that buttery soft Connolly leather, and making sure the bodywork was so smooth you could practically see your reflection in that platinum paint. Originally, this DB5 came out of Newport Pagnell, ready to take on the world with a 4-liter straight 6, clocking 0 to 60 in just over 8 seconds, which was lightning fast for the 60s. It could hit 140 miles per hour with ease, letting British businessmen cruise the M1 with a grin on their face, back when speed cameras were just a bad dream. It's not just the engine either. Inside, it's got reclining seats, wool carpets, and power windows, luxury touches that were a big deal back then. The restoration didn't stop at just the basics. The car was fitted with modern touches like an alloy radiator, electronic power-assisted steering, and even a retro-style DAB radio that looks period correct but works with today's tech. The best part? The vendor even used it for his daughter's wedding, giving the DB5 a bit of a fairy tale moment in between its auction debut and quiet days in the garage. This specific DB5 even got upgraded to a 4.2-liter engine with fast road cams during its life, giving it a bit more growl when you hit the gas. The high-capacity aluminum radiator and electric fan keep it cool even on long summer drives, while upgrades like central locking and LED lights make it actually livable for today's roads. Number 10. Coys of Kensington, 1989. Sauber Mercedes, C9 Group C. Now, if you're still breathing after that Bond machine, let's take it up another notch with something a little wilder. The 1989 Sauber Mercedes C9 Group C that tore up the track before landing at Coys' auction, selling for $2.2 million in September 2017. This car wasn't designed to look pretty parked at the golf club. It was built for brutal, record-breaking speed on the world's most challenging tracks. Chassis 89 C9A2 is a piece of motorsport history, one of the Group C monsters that ruled Le Mans, reaching speeds of up to 248 miles per hour on the Mulsanne Straight before chicanes were introduced to keep these beasts in check. Under the hood, or more accurately, behind the driver's seat, sat a 5-liter, twin-turbocharged Mercedes-Benz M119 V8, cranking out over 750 horsepower reliably and hitting 930 horsepower when you turned up the boost. The C9 won almost everything in sight, including a 1-2 finish at the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1989, dominating the World Sports Car Championship that same year. This particular C9 made its debut at the Nürburgring 1,000 kilometers in 1988, driven by Mauro Baldi and Stefan Johansson, where it took pole position, and then secured a win at the Spa 1,000 kilometers, proving its mettle on Europe's toughest circuits. It's the last car you'd expect to find in an auction hall, and yet, here it was, crossing the block at Coys, with collectors practically holding their breath. After its competitive days were over, it found a new life, being displayed in the Mercedes Sauber Museum for over 20 years before being purchased directly from Peter Sauber himself. Only one private owner has held the keys since then, making this a museum-grade piece of racing history. The restoration work on this C9 wasn't done at your local shop either. The monocoque was rebuilt in 2015 using the original CAD data, paired with a freshly commissioned M117 engine from Heine Motor, the original Sauber C9 engine builder, using a wealth of unused original components. Even though it got a modern engine management system for reliability, it still comes with its original Bosch Motronic system for purists. If you think modern hypercars are fast, just remember that back in 1989, this C9 was blasting down Le Mans faster than almost anything on the planet, and it did it while winning races and championships for Mercedes. There you have it, the absolute kings of every auction, the cars that broke records and made history one gavel drop at a time. If you can't get enough of seeing million-dollar machines and the wild stories behind them, smash that subscribe button now and join us for more of the world's most legendary, outrageous, and wallet-destroying cars ever sold. Trust us, you're going to want front row seats for what's coming next.